Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for both prelims and mains examination perspective will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with news topic list. Today is 23rd of July. The first news is Indian Arctic Bill 2022 has been passed in the Lok Sabha. Second, attempt to achieve climate finance target by 2023. Third, most new passenger vehicle could be electric by 2050. Now, Russia and Ukraine seal the grant export deal. And the last is an editorial, flood not disaster. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affair that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before that, if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. Starting with the first news of the day, that is Indian Arctic Bill passed in the Lok Sabha, something important for General Studies Paper 2, under the topic Parliament and State Legislature, Structure, Function, Conduct of Businesses, Power, Privileges and Issues arising from it. So recently the Lok Sabha has passed Indian Arctic Bill 2022 and there were no amendment to the text of the bill and it was passed by the voice vote. Even the opposition has made uproar in terms of the debate they were looking forward with. But what the government did, they have simply passed it with the voice vote. There's some specific important features that you need to know for the examination. So aim of the bill, ki agar baat kare, the Antarctica Bill was introduced in Lok Sabha in April this year only, and it has overreaching aims to regulate and visit the जो activities होंगे Antarctica region में, as well as set a ground rule for potential dispute that may arise among those present in the continent. Now, the bill also prescribed the penal provisions for certain serious violations of the rules and norms set by the bill. The Minister of Earth and Sciences said that the law was necessary as India has an obligation and a signatory to Antarctica Treaty of 1963. So factually, this is important for your prelims. Make sure you know the basic facts. Now, provisions क्या है इस bill के अंदर? As per the bill, private tours and the expeditions in the Antarctica would be prohibited without permission or written authorization from the member country. जो भी member countries होंगे Antarctica region के, उनकी prior permission mandatory होगी to whether to reach out privately or to any expedition kind of process. If it is being done, a prior permission or recommendation is mandatory. Now the member country is one of the 44 signatory of the treaty. India जो है इसकी treaty के members हैं, and the bill also have structure for governance official to inspect a vessel that to conduct the research facilities की जो ज़रूरतें हैं उस चीज़ के लिए भी पूरी approvals जो है जो structures होगी वो government official के पास होगी, वो inspect कर पाएंगे उस चीज़ों को. Let also direct to create a fund called Antarctica Fund that will be used for protecting the Antarctica environment. So sustainability is the important part. The reason being this fund was created. Now the bill also extends the jurisdiction of Indian court to Antarctica and lays out the penal provisions for the crime on the continent by Indian citizen, foreign citizen who are the part of Indian expeditions and are the precincts of Indian research station. A very, very important point. This can be a possible statement if it is being framed as a question in the prelims examination. So ये कुछ बहुत important provisions हैं इस bill के. Now this is a map which you can just figure it out. ये पूरी countries हैं. You can take a screenshot of this. So map work is again important for the prelims examination. आप कौन-कौन से seas surround करते हैं Antarctica को, ये काफी important है. Weddell seas, right? So these are almost the seas which is there. So check Ross seas, Armistice ice shelf. So ये कुछ important locations हैं जो आपके exam के लिए भी important. Now, attempt to achieve climate finance target by 2023, something important for General Studies Paper 2 under the topic Bilateral Regional Grouping and Agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So recently, COP26 के जो president है, he is on a visit to India and he held meeting with the key officer, including the environment minister, to discuss India involvement in the implementations of ambitious scope 26 कमिटमेंट, राइट? जो इंडिया की जो कमिटमेंट है उसको लेकर के उसके बारे में बात करने के लिए की गई. Now he visit the solar research facilities and see the renewable energy generations in action, where he also has to press that the global delivery in the Glasgow Pact was something that was evident. एक रोड मैप डिसाइड की गई थी कि हर कंट्रीज के क्या क्या कमिटमेंट है और उसे कैसे एग्जीक्यूट करनी है. Now, climate finance and technology की अगर बात करें, the Environment Ministry has raised the issues of transfer of climate finance and technology by developed countries to the developing nations. Right? This is what the minister has called for. And even during the COP26 president visit, he said that the mechanism is put in place where to achieve the target of 100 billion by 2023 would be look upon और इस पे पूरी काम की जाएगी. He said that the significant commitments were made by the private sector, where it can also reach a toll up to 130 trillion of the assets. Now, India is the world's fourth biggest emitter of carbon dioxide after China, US और EU के बाद इंडिया की जो रैंकिंग है वो फोर्थ पे आती है. So factually, this is again an important point. And the Prime Minister of India has made a pledge of 5 commitment, which is also known as Panchamrit, where he recently basically addressed the COP26 summit in Glasgow. वो कौन कौन से ऐसे 5 पॉइंट है ये आपके एग्जाम के लिए काफ़ी ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. Specifically if you're writing in mains paper, make sure you highlight all these 5 points. The first is that India will reach its non-fossil energy capacity of 500 gigawatt by 2030. India will meet 50% of its energy requirement from renewable energy by 2030. These are the 2 important targets. The other 3 targets include that India will reduce the total projected carbon emissions to 1 billion tons. This is 1 billion tons from now till 2030. Fourth, by 2030, India will reduce the carbon intensity of economy by less than 45%. And last but not the least, that by 2070, India will achieve the target of net zero emission. A big achievement by India. And the Panchamrit will be unprecedented contributions to India's action against the climate change. Now, as I've told you, India ranked 4th. तो ये आप ग्राफ पे देख सकते हैं. India is the world's 4th biggest emitter of the carbon dioxide, total per capita emissions of the CO2, right? So this is the data, like China is 8.1, US is close to 15.5, EU 6.5, India 1.9 and Russia 12.5, right? तो ये टोटल मेगावाट में कंट्रीब्यूशन है हर एक कंट्रीज की. द हाईएस्ट विद चाइना एंड इंडिया कंट्रीब्यूटिंग अराउंड 2597 मेगाटन्स. मूविंग टू द अदर न्यूज, दैट इज मोस्ट new passenger vehicles could be electric by 2050. This is a study which has highlighted the fact that India could be an electric nation in terms of the vehicles by 2050. Something important for General Studies paper 3 under the topic Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So according to the study, which was conducted by the Council on Energy, Environment and Water, also known as CEEW, उन्होंने अपनी एक रिपोर्ट पब्लिश की जो रिपोर्ट की टाइटल है India's Transport Energy Outlook, where it says that the electric passengers vehicle could comprise of 30 to 75% of new vehicle sales in India by 2030 and 2050. So a good number has been suggested by the council, and even we can expect that this number can take a toll. Now, more about the study. As per the study, which was conducted by the Council on Energy, Environment and Water, it says that close to half of the new 2-wheelers and a quarter of new 3-wheelers or the 4-wheelers would be sold by 2030 would be electric, right? Therefore, center and state government need to have a precautionary measure and even the preparationary measures, जहाँ पे वो इस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को अभी से डेवलप कर सकते हैं, इसकी प्रिपरेशन अभी से कर सकते हैं और एक चार्जिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की तरफ ध्यान देने की ज़रूरत है. इवन फॉर मेंस एग्जामिनेशन आपसे ये पूछा जा सकता है कि इंडिया में जिस तरह से ई व्हीकल्स बढ़ रही हैं, क्या इंडिया ने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वाइज अपने आप को इतना इक्विप्ड कर लिया है, तैयार कर लिया है कि हम इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स को इतनी ज़्यादा लॉन्च कर सकें. So this is something which was also recommended by the study. तो states और central government दोनों को recommendations दी गई हैं कि वो charging station के जो basic infrastructures हैं उनको develop करें. And also local supply chain developed to support the rapid growth of electric vehicle sales, right? Which is still missing in country like India. Now, the study underlined that in the next 3 decades, the ownership of the four wheelers could grow up by 9 times. So, this is the anticipation about the four wheelers. And the study also said that the decline in the share of public transport and rapid growth in the air would also pose a challenge to India's effort to decarbonize the transport sector. So we have to see, and government definitely need to take all this study in priority manners so that they can conclusively work in the most broad area and most broad heads where the essential requirement is. Now, India's transport sectors की अगर बात करें, at present India's transport sector account for 21% of total energy consumed, again a factual point, and produced fewer emissions compared to the developed countries. Now, energy demand में अगर देखें, from the transport sector, it's set to grow manifold over next 30 years and in line with the expected rise in the per capita income. And the other news, Russia-Ukraine steel crane export deal. This is the positive news coming out from Russia and Ukraine because these two countries were there in war for past 5 months, which actually started in February 2022. Something important for General Studies paper 2 under the topic effect and policies of developed and developing countries. So recently, Ukraine and Russia have signed a landmark deal where aims at relieving a global food crisis caused by the blockage in the Black Sea grain deliveries. तो इसके वजह से काफ़ी ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही थी. Not only for these two countries, globally जो प्राइस है उसमें काफ़ी ज़्यादा वेरिएशंस आई हैं. Now this will end the negotiations and even send wheat prices tumbling to the highest level because of the Russia's invasions to Ukraine. और इस वजह से जो पूरी ब्लैक सी की रूट जो थी ट्रेड की वो ब्लॉक की हुई थी. Now, Russia and Ukraine signed agreement with Turkey and United Nations, clearing the way for exporting million ton of the basically grain from Ukraine and Russia, which Russia has a fertilizer supplies की अगर बात करें तो वर्ल्ड में नंबर 1 पे आती है. तो ये कुछ ऐसी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ें होंगी जहाँ से पूरी इंपोर्ट वापस से खास करके एक्सपोर्ट को अलाउ किया जाएगा and many other country will be benefiting. Now the deal makers provisions have a safe passengers of the ship as well. तो जो पूरी डील की गई है उसमें जो सेफ पैसेज ऑफ शिप्स की बात की गई है उसको भी प्रायोरिटाइज करने की बात कही गई है. Now UN and Turkish is the mediator in this. So the deal agreed through the UN and Turkish mediation establish a safe corridors along with the Ukraine ship that can come in and out of the 3 designated Black Sea port around the Odisha. Now at the both side they have pledged not to attack ship on their way in or out. तो किसी भी तरह से अटैक नहीं की जाएगी और सिर्फ जो शिप होंगी उनकी सेफ पैसेज के लिए ये कंट्रीज उनको गार्ड करेंगी. दिस इज द एग्रीमेंट. Now consequences of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, जिस तरह से रशिया ने इन्वेड किया यूक्रेन को फरवरी 2022 में, उसके बाद क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स आई हैं. यूक्रेन इज वन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड लार्जेस्ट एक्सपोर्टर ऑफ व्हीट, कॉर्न एंड सनफ्लावर ऑयल. तो आपने देखा होगा इनके प्राइजेस ग्लोबल मार्केट में बढ़े हैं इवन फॉर इंडिया ऑल्सो, राइट. बट रशियाज इन्वेजन ऑफ द अदर कंट्री एंड द नेवल ब्लॉकेड हैज पोर्ट्स हैज halted द कंप्लीट शिपमेंट ऑल्सो. Now, some grain is being transported through Europe by rail, road, and river, but the price of vital commodities like wheat and barley have soared during the nearly 5 years of the war. Right? Still, the war has not concluded. Every country, be it whomsoever is negotiating between Russia and Ukraine, they are looking forward कि एक negotiations हो दोनों countries के बीच में और रशिया इस तरह के वार को खत्म करे. The eastward expansion, which was initiated by the Ukraine, has led to such kind of war between Russia and Ukraine. There are other reasons also. I'm not getting into the detailed part of that because we are more concerned about the news as such. तो आपको इस सारे चीज़ों को, सारे एस्पेक्ट्स को ध्यान देने की जरूरत है जब आप मेंस एग्जामिनेशन लिखेंगे. Now, flood not a disaster. This is something important for General Studies paper 1. Important geographical phenomena such as earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activities. Although in this editorial, the editor or to say the author is trying to convey to the government. तो आप ये General Studies के paper 2 में भी इसको include कर सकते हैं where government policies and intervention are concerned. Now in this entire editorial, I'll be simplifying the editorial in 3 important subheads. That is the flood management, flood risk management strategies, background with some background, right? Now, अगर बात करें इस पूरी एडिटोरियल की थीम की, दैट इज फॉर द फ्लड एंड इट्स मैनेजमेंट। तो आसाम के बारे में अगर बात करें रिसेंट एग्जाम्पल में, आसाम हैज बीन रेव्ड विद 2 bout of the flood recently, and at the peak in May 31 district and more than 2000 village, 7 lakh people and 95 hectare of land was affected, right? Not only for Assam, there are many countries who are severely impacted because of the flood, right? So as a flood adversity has increased, did the river bank erosion at the peak, and some 19 districts reported for the instances of the river bank erosion. तो river bank erosion की वजह से काफ़ी ज़्यादा environmental detrimental होते हैं, जो लोग वहाँ पे रहते हैं उन रीजन में, उनको भी फ्लड का सामना करना पड़ता है। एंड आफ्टर विच जो पोस्ट रिस्टोरेशंस होती है, जो जिस तरह से फिर बाकी में रिहेबिलिटेशन काम की जाती है, वो काफ़ी टफ होती है गवर्नमेंट के लिए भी और इंडिविजुअल जिसने अपने लॉस सही होती है। Now the situation has deteriorated drastically in June, and we have seen that the worst situation was witnessed in the Assam. Now flood management की अगर बात करें, why it is essential for a country like India down the line, जब हमने इंडिपेंडेंस के ऑलमोस्ट 75 ईयर क्रॉस कर लिए, अभी भी मुंबई जैसे शहर में, दिल्ली, बीट मेनी अदर सिटीज लाइक आसाम, कैलकाटा, गुवाहाटी, अदर रीजन ऑफ उड़ीसा हैव बीन सीन विटनेस ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ फ्लड, राइट? फ्लड और कई खास करके जब आप हेवी रेन के बाद देखेंगे तो इस तरह की प्रॉब्लम्स आती है। तो अभी तक हमारे पास फ्लड मैनेजमेंट के लिए क्या क्या काम की गई, लेट अंडरस्टैंड। द प्राइम मिनिस्टर इनिशियली ड्यूरिंग द COVID-19 हैज सेड that we should always use crisis as an opportunity, right? Why the flood management basically area was not being there for the priority. Now restated this context, it would mean that the seasonal flood related crisis be an opportunity and it will call for a paradigm shift in the flood management. तो ये ज़रूरत है कि इस तरह की चीज़ों पे ध्यान दिया जाए और इस तरह की साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी लगाई जाए, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट की जाए ताकि ये प्रॉब्लम से बचा जा सके। Now, overall aim is to move away from the hazardous prevention of the minimalistic and disaster risk. And hazardous like flood is often triggered by the extreme weather events, but they translate into disaster due to anthropogenic factors. बहुत सारे ऐसे human activities भी हैं जो कि इसके लिए बहुत हद तक basically जिम्मेवार है। Now, the anthropogenic factor has a complex relationship between the biophysical and social vulnerability also. Flood risk management strategies की अगर बात करें, the flood risk management studies would need to expand their scope for the river engineering. It is essentially required जो भी state of art technologies हैं वो incorporate की जाए river engineering में, embankment construction, and to address that diverse root causes would be to set an invention target to address the drivers of vulnerability. Now, risk management cannot be done by the water resources department. It called for many other stakeholders to be part of it, right? And strategy should include the round year development activities. ऐसा नहीं है कि जब फ्लड आए उस टाइम पे हम तैयारी करें, एक ओवरऑल कंप्लीट ईयर राउंड साइकिल डेवलपमेंट एक्टिविटीज चल सकती है ताकि उसके लिए प्रिपरेशन किया जा सके, व्हेन इट विल टेक ईयर 2 or 3 to complete the entire project. Now, a national program like Swachh Bharat has demonstrated the efficacy of work on a mission mode. ऑलरेडी इंडिया ने कुछ जगह पे बहुत ही अच्छा कमेंडेबल काम किया हुआ है, जिस तरह से स्वच्छ भारत है, क्यों ना उसी तर्ज पे इंडिया में जो रिस्क मैनेजमेंट है, फ्लड रिस्क मैनेजमेंट पे काम किया जाए और इस पे एक पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड के साथ काम करें ताकि सक्सेस मिले उस पर्टिकुलर स्टेट्स में। पैन इंडिया इट इज ऑल्सो रिक्वायर्ड, बट फॉर सम स्पेसिफिक टारगेट रिस्क फैक्टर स्टेट एसेंशियली वहां से स्टार्ट करने की जरूरत है। नाउ वे फॉरवर्ड की बात करें, डीलिंग विद द फ्लड रिस्क इज एसेंशियली द मैनेजमेंट प्रॉब्लम, and it requires dedicated and trained professionals who understand the interdisciplinary requirement of the flood risk and build the resilience. So this is something that was essentially required to be started at the earliest. Now, among the seamless line, district disaster management fellows हैं, a dedicated group of trained professional with a time-bound, goal-driven assignment should be there so that they can actually work upon this. Now, this is an opportunity for the state government, NGO, private players, academic institutions to come together and develop a cadre of professionals who can work, who can give their suggestions, who can give their recommendation, who can monitor a project, and ultimately the aim is to ensure a successful implementation of infrastructure project, be it is any sort of development that is essentially required to curb any kind of flooding, and even वाटर लॉगिंग के भी जो प्रॉब्लम है अर्बन एरियाज में वो भी काफ़ी बड़ी इशू है। So this is how the way forward can be concluded. Now moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, the correct option is B. Today's MCQ for practice, आपको बताना है अम्बेडकर सोशल इनोवेशन एंड इंक्यूबेशन मिशन के कौन कौन से स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट है. इट एम्स टू बूस्ट एंटरप्रेन्योरियल एंड इनोवेशन अमॉन्ग द SC student and SC दिव्यांजन. The mission is under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So do check it out for the correct option. Second question of the day, Toropex 21, the exercise being conducted in the Pacific Ocean region. Location काफी important है. CAPF के जो बच्चे एग्जाम दे रहे हैं उनके लिए भी काफी important questions है. Now the biennial theater level operational readiness exercise. So do check it out for the correct option. This is all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.